With an empty weight of over 10,000 pounds, the P-47D Thunderbolt was one of the heaviest single-engine fighters of the Second World War. On paper, it shouldn't have been a world-class dogfighter. It was too heavy, it couldn't turn, and at low altitude, its engine tended to be sluggish. And yet, this aircraft, flown by aces like Gabreski and Johnson, achieved one of the highest kill ratios in the European theater. So this presents us with an engineering puzzle. How did a fighter with such significant disadvantages could become a titan of the skies? The answer isn't just in the specifications. It's in the philosophy behind its design and how its pilots learned to turn every single weakness into a devastating strength. The most obvious shortcoming of the P-47 was its sheer mass. The P-47's MD weight dwarfs that of its primary rival, the Messerschmitt Bf-109. This resulted in a significantly lower rate of climb. So in a vertical fight or climbing engagement, the Thunderbolt was at a distinct disadvantage. Meanwhile, Bf-109 pilots could use their superior climb rate to gain a positional advantage. And in the sky, higher position is everything. The massive weight also hampered P-47's agility. In a classic horizontal turning dogfight, the P-47 had a much larger turn radius. It was a known tactic among German pilots to force a Thunderbolt into a prolonged turning battle. This means once P-47 pilots got suckered into that kind of fight, it could be their death sentence. And then there was the engine issue. The Pratt & Whitney R2800 was an absolute powerhouse. It relied on a turbo supercharger, which ensures excellent performance at high altitude, but caused turbo lag problem. Below 15,000 feet, P-47 pilots faced delay in power delivery as the turbo spooled up, while the Bf-109's Daimler-Benz engine had a mechanically driven supercharger with instant responses. In low-altitude dogfights, this split-second differences could be deadly. So a heavy World War II fighter with sluggish climb rate, poor turning ability, and turbo lag might sound like a recipe for a disaster. But the designers at Republic weren't trying to beat contemporary fighters at their own game. They built the P-47 as a different kind of fighter entirely. The massive fuselage allowed it to carry a huge internal fuel load, and when combined with external drop tanks, the P-47 had the endurance to escort Allied bomber formations all the way to targets deep within Germany and return. To execute escort mission, P-47 pilots relied on their high-speed dive capability. They would avoid a turning fight and instead use tactics that played to the plane's strengths. The Thunderbolt's massive weight became a terrifying asset. In a dive, it could reach speeds well over 500 miles per hour. At such velocity, the control surfaces on a Bf-109 would stiffen severely, making it unresponsive. The Thunderbolt pilot, however, would retain control, and they could make a high-speed firing pass and then use that tremendous energy to climb away safely, a tactic known as boom and zoom. Flying deep into enemy territory meant facing intense defensive fire, which brings us to P-47's legendary durability. The Thunderbolt was built like a flying tank. Its robust airframe and the air-cooled R2800 radial engine could absorb an astonishing amount of punishment. Data suggests that on average, a P-47 could sustain nearly 400 hits from 7.62mm machine gun rounds before being brought down. Unlike liquid-cooled engines, the radial engine of P-47 could lose a few cylinders and still have enough power to bring its pilot home. The P-47 was armed with 8 50 caliber Browning machine guns. For the split-second firing window of a high-speed pass, this was the perfect armament to have. The 8 guns delivered a dense, concentrated wall of lead with a flat trajectory that could shred an enemy aircraft in an instant. The goal wasn't only precision, but also overwhelming saturation, ensuring multiple hits on critical components. High-altitude dominance was the final piece of the puzzle. With its complex turbo supercharger system, P-47 could reuse waste exhaust gases and became vastly more efficient in the thin air. While the Bf-109's performance choked above 25,000 feet, the Thunderbolt was just hitting its stride and became a true king of the high-altitude battlefield. With a final tally of over 3,700 air-to-air kills in Europe, the P-47 was not a classic duelist. It was a purpose-built weapon system with devastatingly fast dives and built around an incredibly tough ground attack platform. Its supposed flaws became the very source of its dominance. Thank you for watching, and please support my work by purchasing my ebooks. You can find the links in my bio description or by searching for Adrian Langsford on Amazon.